Well, you want to know why I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, or any of these pagan holidays? Well, let's think about something for a minute. You know, in 1621, there was a colonial conquest and a massacre of the indigenous people. And we know now because we know the history of America now and the land rights, the patents, the Dawes Roll, all these things we've learned about. Now that, there's many highways of knowledge, the Most High has woken us up to the fact that we are the indigenous people. We are the so-called Mayans, the Incas, the Choctaw, Blackfoot, Cherokee, um, Winnapock. We are all these different tribes. So there was a massacre in 1621 of our people, but there's been a perpetual massacre ever since. And actually since Yeshua left this earth. You see, in December 4th, 1619, at Berkeley Plantation, there was something that was said. And this is what they said. It said with their Thanksgiving that they want to keep it yearly as a perpetual and be kept as a holy day. And today they call it a so-called holiday, which is a shortened form of a holy day in their form. But what it is it's a corrupt form of holiness, because what they'll do is they'll take evil acts. And this is what Satan's seed does. They'll take evil acts and they'll turn it around and try to make it as holy. Something we got to understand, that the land was taken, the natives were killed, and more than anything, they always think they're God. You see, in 1621, they had a meal with the Wampanoags. They were called the Wampanoags or the Wampanoags. And these Indian tribes who they had a meal with, they ended up slaughtering them. And so saying that, there's a perpetual history that our people, on these days that our people go out and spend money and feed this, what I call the 1% who runs the world, feeds their coffers, and feed these other people out here who've had generational wealth from taking it from us. We got to stop celebrating these so-called holidays, because what they are holidays. They come from hell. This is where they come from. And these people, what they do is they make light of the darkness that they shed on the Most High's children. And I think about this another one they got coming up in Christmas. When you go to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1, it says, "Hear, O Israel," it says, "don't do as the heathens do. They cut down a tree, they fasten with nails, and they put ornaments on it." That's what Nimrod would do. He would cut down trees, he would put shekels on it, different silvers, and he would also put his enemies' heads on these trees. And what they would do is erect them. And this is where this comes from. But the Most High told us straightway, don't do what the heathens do. And those were heathens who came into our nation, took our people out. And the crazy part about it, when they came here, we read about Plymouth Rock and so forth, they couldn't farm. They had no idea how to even take care of themselves. And what did they do? They came in. They came in acting like they were our friends and they were here to, to learn from us. And then they took the same people and they took their land, they took their identity. And not only that, they took all their monuments down so you wouldn't know who they are. And they flooded them with lakes. This is when you got rivers, and most of these lakes in America, when you get a map from the 1500s, the lakes weren't even here. And so saying that, all of these things that you see right now is a culmination of the indigenous people, our people, who have been destroyed. Dr. King said, we're the mound builders. We're going to go north, south, east, west for 1,000,000 miles, and we want our paychecks. We want our money. But you know what? And I want you to understand something. That these Gentiles, these so-called heathens, cannot give you back anything compared to what you lost. You see, all of the Americas belongs to us. North America, South America, Central America, Canada, Mexico, all these lands and all the islands that surround. Not only that, remember, we was numerous as the sands of the sea. So when you go north, south, east, and west, all over the earth, when you go into Africa, Niger, and you go into the Mandingo, the Ashanti, and a lot of Nigerians, these are our people who were scattered. Remember, in 70 AD, General Vassalin put a slaughter to our people, the Romans, the children of Chittim. And when they did that, a lot of our people ran into these lands. Look, we ran all of Spain. We ran all of Germany. We ran all of Russia. We ran all of Britain, France. All these nations we ran. These were our people. That's why when you go and you dig up any of the old bodies, you find us. This is why they don't do DNA testing in most parts of the world, because when they do, they're going to find Jacob's children. So why would I celebrate Thanksgiving? Thanks for what? For giving our land to the Gentiles, to the heathens? What is there to be thankful for? We didn't celebrate back then. All of us was going through perpetual hell. So why should we celebrate their Thanksgiving? Why should we celebrate their Christmas? And this is why our people are doing a national boycott of Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all their so-called holidays that they call holidays. Start thinking, folks. Before you go out, know that there's a spiritual connotation when you actually celebrate in these days, that the Most High is looking down at you. He knows and he realizes something, that my people, they're going to perish for lack of knowledge. Remember, many are called, but few are chosen. A lot of you will be called, and you'll hear his voice. You say, I speaketh once, I speaketh twice, but yet man does not comprehend. And you won't even comprehend that the Most High is talking to you, telling you to do this, to do that, and not do this, and not do that. And one thing he straightway told us, he told us, don't celebrate their holidays. And so saying that, get to the root. If you get to the root, you'll know the fruit. You'll know exactly where it comes from. You see, all they do is make usury of us. That's all there's ever been ever since they came into our nation. Why do you think every time you turn around, when they tell us, go ahead, pull your bootstraps up. That's what you need to do. Well, how can we pull the bootstraps up when they got the boots? Saying that, we got to understand that this is all a culmination of the Most High waking us up in these last days before he gathers us. But before he gathers us, Ezekiel 37 tells you straightway, he's going to put bone to bone, flesh to flesh, and pour the four winds into his children. So you see, there's a spiritual resurrection first, and then there's going to be a physical one. So spiritually, right now, he's waking us up to get away from these holidays, to get away from these people who don't care for us, and they'll never give you back what they took. What do you care about 40 acres and a mule? What do you care about this little bit of money when they have trillions of our dollars? Because we own America. This is our land. How can you deport the ones who've been here from the beginning? That's why we can't be deported. They know our records. They got all the records of the Indians, the Dawes rolls, which were changed. And so saying that, even if you came from Britain, France, Germany, Russia, immediately when you came into the Americas, they changed your name from being a person of Britain or France or Germany or Scottish into being a YT person, so that they can get their census records up to make it seem as though they are a majority when they're really a minority. You are the majority. But one thing you got to do is wake up. Know who you are. Know where you came from. And if you know where you came from, you already know where you're going. But too many people are bamboozled. They've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, ran amok, and they've been led astray. But right now, it's not the time for the children of Israel, the Ivrit, those who cross over. We're not Hebrew. That term was made up by the YT people. They were kicked out of 360-some countries. And so they gave us that term. Now that term is used to demonize a people who are the holy cloth, the ones who got the promise. This is why they won't give you back what they took. This is why whenever you get a city and you want to separate from them, what do? They come in immediately and blow them up. If they don't blow them up, they flood them out. If they don't flood them out, what they do is they come in and they burn them up. And they do this for a reason. They know that we hold the key. The Bible tells you straightway that no nation would prosper without Abraham's seed. Abraham said, bring me my son. So Isaac went to get his oldest brother. He went to go get Ishmael. I don't want Ishmael. Bring me my son. So Isaac went to get Esau, his eldest son, born red and hairy, Genesis 25, like a hairy garment. Esau was given Mount Seir. From Mount Seir, he was given Bozrah. From Bozrah, he went to Ukraine. And that's where the Ashkenazi, Genesis chapter 10, verse 3, Japheth had a son named Ashkenazi. But we come from Shem. We're a holy people. And so these people, you understand, got together. This is the 10 European nations. That's Japheth's children. And that's also the children of Chittim, of Rome. That is Esau's children. They got together with one consent. As Psalms 83 verse 1 says, they were confederate against thee. And it even names them. When they came together, their biggest thing to do, and it comes from the Vatican, it comes from the top, from Rome, their job was to hide our identity. The Most High told us that I will make you forget who you are in the land of your captivity. The land where they will come in and take your land. And also lands that I'll take you to, from faraway lands that you've never been. Because I'm going to bring you to your brothers, because you are two sticks in my hand, as Yeshua say. But when I come back, you will be one. And through slavery, we're one now. Know your history. Know where you came from. More importantly, right now is the time to have faith. The substance of things hoped for, but yet not seen. When you do that, you know where you're going. Shalom. Don't celebrate their holy days.